Hello, everyone. I hope that you are doing well and that you are off to a good week. This is week 4, so we are halfway through. Yay. You guys keep the faith and hold on. But this week in our discussion, we are going to talk about the professional counseling skills. We were to read chapters 8 and chapters 9 in our reading and then watch some videos. In chapter 8, we discussed the concept of integration counseling as it applies to the holistic view of the client and a Christian worldview. So, with the holistic view of the client, we want to make sure that our clients are able to be reached and we can reach them through their mind, their body, and their spirit. And so, with that, we use psychology, we use counseling, and we use the Bible to be able to interact with our client and provide them total care for their mental health. Okay. There was a quote that he used that said, "We want to help people pay attention to what they need to pay attention to." So I thought that was great, and that is what we want to do because the Bible provides us information about everything that we're going through life from ages birth to 70 and who we are and what our purpose is, and it helps us be able to answer those main questions that we may have in life. But we know there are certain aspects that the Bible does not have, but we are able to gather through literature and counseling techniques, and that is what makes it a holistic approach. So, going on to chapter 9, we also talk about the skills and techniques that we need to give our client a therapeutic effect and approach. So, one of the things that was in the introductory video was a analogy about Mr. Rogers. Now, I am a PBS Kids person, so I loved Mr. Rogers in the Neighborhood, and one thing that he was able to do was to connect with people through the screen, and he reflected on the feelings and the identity of people, and that's what made them feel seen, heard, and understood. So as a counselor, that is something that we are supposed to do, is make our client feel seen, heard, and understood. Okay. So there were 2 videos at the end of the chapter, 2 summary videos. One was Stephanie. And so Stephanie was having issues balancing home and balancing work life. She was very stressed because she just started a new job at the hospital. I assume she was a nurse. But she had issues with patients, trying to balance patients and their schedules, and also co-workers. And so she wanted to make sure that she was giving everything equal attention. So she had a lot of frustration when it came to that. All right. The second video was with Mariah. So Mariah was dating this guy, but she really doesn't like the guy, but it seems like she has some issues with independency, and it seems as though she's been going to counseling for a while. And so when it came down to it, her counselor was very great, and I loved it compared to Stephanie. But that goes to the next point of our discussion board, talking about the skills and characteristics. So according to the textbook, I feel as though Stephanie's counselor used the Ivy model. So with the Ivy model, there was a building of rapport with clients and demonstrating empathetic understanding, also hearing the client's story and assessing the strengths and skills, engaging in mutual goal setting for the client, and reframing their identity and applying concepts from previous stages in life situations. So the tone as well as the conversation that was going was very repetitive. Everything that Stephanie said, the counselor would come back and say the same thing. One thing that the client did was have body language, and so the counselor was able to pick up on that with her talking with her hands, her deep breaths. He can understand the frustration. So based off what I witnessed there, I believe that the first counselor with Stephanie used the Ivy model. Now, the second model I personally liked more, and so this was Smaby, and I may be saying it wrong, and I apologize. Smaby and Maddox model. The second counselor with Mariah used the advanced skills model. So this dealt with immediacy, identification of problem solving situations, identifying and taking action, and identifying feelings, confronting in a caring manner, deciding, choosing, identifying, having the consequences, reaching agreement, and then reaching deadlines, and reviewing the goals and actions. So I felt as it the second one was more action oriented versus the first one. The first one was more of just talking, a very much repetitive. Everything that she said, he repeated back, and I guess it was to just give an understanding, or maybe it was an initial visit. But I remember at the end of the video, that they were going to come back on the next one and try to get some skills and ideas going on. Versus in the second one, it seemed like Mariah had been coming to counseling a little bit more, or a little bit more often, and they pretty much had a game plan set, and that was for her to pick two things that she wanted to do to gain her independence, and then to invite someone along with her versus she just going along with the crowd and doing whatever the crowd says. So I thought that was great. It's more action oriented, and I feel like it was really good. Another thing, so there's this Egan model, and again, I may be saying it wrong, so please forgive me. But in the Egan model, and both counselors use this technique, it's called the SOLAR, which stands for sit squarely, open posture, lean in, make eye contact, and relax. So I think both of those use that when it came to their counseling. Lastly, with our discussion board, we're supposed to ask a question to one of the counselors about what they did or what they did not do. So I had a question for Stephanie's counselor, because she came in with questions about how to balance home and to how to balance work life, because she became very stressful. But in their counseling session, it seemed as though all they talked about was work. They did not talk about her home life. So that is my question. Why did we focus so much on her work life but not her home life, if she's having trouble with the balance between the two? What's going on at home? And then, did you not want to ask her questions about what was going at home because you feel as though it may have stressed her out more? I'm just not real sure. So that was my question, and concludes my discussion board, and I look forward to responding to you guys. Have a great day. Bye.